something, so we were just being smart with him. So that's really what it came to.
Do you expect him to practice next week?
Yeah.
Where's he?
Resting.
Schedule, because it looked like he kind of got a little something happened with his arm on a certain. Cooper, he was just shaking it yesterday. It seemed like maybe he got a little.
Do that again for me. Show me what he was doing. No, he was good. Yeah, he's feeling good. So he's every time that we've done these jog throughs, that's been consistent throughout camp. It's on. I don't have updates on those guys. Sorry.
Will Jimmy play in the game? So
I think it's important, to be able to get Stetson those reps. Jimmy got a bunch of work yesterday, and I thought that was really good for him. And he got even more than what we thought because Matthew participated in the first couple periods, and it's really loud right there. But I thought it was great work for both of those guys, and so he's played a lot of football. I think it's important for Stetson to be able to get those reps. Whether or not we take that same approach for the third preseason game, I haven't determined that. And really, because of the way that we looked at it, yesterday was really an important day to be able to get those practices. We have some guys that you want to be mindful of going into this game. Some guys that have gotten a bunch of yards, a bunch of work, and really, it's not exactly like a game, but I mean, we ended up getting on both sides of the football 107 snaps on each side with our first and second groups, and there was a lot of different things that took place. And so after I finish up with you guys, we'll end up talking with Reggie, and I'll kind of have an idea. But all the guys that didn't play last week, that'll be the same thing, and there might even be a couple more guys that we hold out.
Will you have your play callers be the same?
I will, yes.
Coach.
So that's Mike, and then is Chris.
Yes.
Coach, how do you balance preserving players' bodies for the physicality of the season while simultaneously preparing them for the upcoming season?
I think that's the goal of training camp, and really what we've done is that's why those joint practices are so important, because you get an opportunity to go against other teams' starters. You really are able to simulate what would be equivalent to a normal game's reps, even though it's not quite like that, but you're getting a bunch of different situations. And so the way we've tried to treat that, especially for guys that have played a lot of football, is those become their games. We're fortunate to get another one against the Texans next week, and so it's always something that we're just kind of figuring out how to manage. And then Aubrey will be the head coach, so it'll be really cool. I'll be up in the coach's booth, and he'll be doing his thing, and we'll see if he throws the flag at the right times.
Give him any tips on?
No, he doesn't. Listen, I wouldn't follow my lead, but he's ready to go. I mean, he's earned this right, and really, it's more of just going through some of the mechanics. Meeting with the officials, handling some of the different things as it relates to timeouts, being able to communicate with both sides. And again, we take these games we approach very differently, but I think to be able to get those reps for the leadership, role that he plays for our team, but also to be able to, get those chances. I remember when I got opportunities when I was in Washington, those were really cool things that I look back on and I really appreciate in hindsight. And maybe I didn't realize how beneficial and valuable they were. And, like I mentioned to you guys, he's earned the right of assistant head coach because of the influence and the positive effect that he has on everyone in this building. And so, really, I think it's a great earned opportunity, and he'll do an excellent job. And that certainly isn't exclusive to whatever the result is. It's more of the management and the way that you just handle everything, from the players to the coaches, and it'll be cool to see.
Sean, you've come across, and especially in this building, with the way you guys have built some of your rosters, guys sort of in their second acts, their third acts.
Yeah.
What have you learned from players like that? And I'm speaking specifically now of Trey White in terms of seeing them kind of rediscover themselves in a new place.
Well, I think each guy has its own individual story, Jordan, but he's such a special guy. He's all about the right stuff. Even when you get a chance, you watch him from afar and you think this is how he's going to be, and then he's even better when you get to know him and you meet with him on his visit and you hear the things he's passionate about with his family, with football, with the ability to overcome some of the things that he's gone through as he's had an incredibly successful career. But you go through injuries where you look at the Achilles, you look at the ACL, and some of the different challenges that it forces you to go through, but where the real growth occurs. And so I've been so impressed with him. And I think what comes with that is a gratitude, a perspective, and an appreciation. And so he's been awesome. And you can see it's very seamless and easy for him to want to mentor and to want to help other guys, and then the respect that the other guys in the room with him have. When you look at the way that a Jacoby Durant looks up to him, listens to him, even a Rush East, and he's so willing to put his arm around these guys and be able to share and offer his perspectives. And so that's what it's all about. But there's been really cool experiences throughout our tenure, like you mentioned.
Corner can be so isolating.
Yeah.
What I don't even know a way to ask this, but what is it to have someone who's just like happy in the room?
Well, it's nice. You know, we've got a lot of happy guys, but they play tough within the rules and when the game's being played. But I just think the perspective and the willingness to share. I got a funny feeling he's probably always been that way, but you gain some wisdom. He still is young, but he's got an amazing amount of experience and wisdom that he's gathered through his experiences at LSU or even in Buffalo, and to be able to provide that mentorship and then how receptive he is to Aubrey and to Coach Beek and to Mike Harris. It's been really fun to watch.
Speaking of wisdom, we're doing a feature with Coach Yarber.
Nice. He's got wisdom.
What is it? I mean, here's a guy that, like, right where SoFi Stadium is, that's almost where he grew up.
Sure.
What have you seen from him in his time in terms of bringing out wisdom from coaching the other guys?
Well, I've just seen as consistent a human as I've ever been around. He is, he loves these guys. He's so invested in them. Every time that you bring up Eric Yarber's name to people, you'll see them smile. And that's just, he's got a heart for people. He's always in a good mood. And it's authentic. Sometimes you get around people and you're like, no way, the guy's always like that. Well, going into year 8, this freaking guy's like that. And he's one of those guys that you don't want to let down. You want to be able to do right by him. And I think that's the way that his players play. They play for him. He coaches for them. He loves them. He's invested in them. And he truly cares about them more as a person than a player. We always talk about it being a transformational coach, not just a transactional coach. This guy epitomizes everything that's right about being a transformational coach. I love Eric Yarber. Can't say enough good things about him.
Coach, with Stetson, after the tough week that he had last week, was able to finish the game. Just how was he able to bounce back with this week of practice?
I think he's done a really good job. And even in the game, there was a lot of positives. And then anytime you're a quarterback and you turn the ball over, that's going to be a challenging situation to return from. But all we can do is the next right thing. And he did that on that last drive. And I was really impressed. And then, he got a lot of reps yesterday that he wasn't planning on getting any reps. That was exclusively going to be Matthew and Jimmy. He steps in there. Some of the things that he's able to see and feel, and then he can articulate what he saw after the fact. There's a great example yesterday. They had a little bit of a mix-up in their coverage, and guy was playing a cloud and a safety was overlapping to the 3-receiver surface, and he ends up seeing Tutu on something that it's just like he's got a great feel, and it was an easy touchdown down the right sideline. And I've been really pleased with just his responses, and I think you guys saw that even when you talked to him after the game, and we were saying it on the headset. We weren't really surprised. Now, do we want to take better care of the football? Yeah, of course. But the fact that he was able to just stay steady and be able to put together that drive where there was a lot of really good positive plays in the midst of that, leading up to him being able to throw the touchdown to Miller Forstall, it was pretty impressive. And I think even more impressive when you take into account the adversity that he faced throughout the course of the game.
Knowing how correctable those mistakes are, how, if at all, does that reframe the expectations you have for him, not only through this preseason game, but just the rest of the preseason?
Yeah, I think what you want to see is consistency. You certainly, this is an imperfect game. The last thing you want is guys to go out there and be afraid to make a mistake because you had a situation like that. That's not at all what we want to do, but you do want to make good, consistent decisions. And sometimes he might make a great play and it might lead to a turnover if there's a ball that gets tipped, but that's not going to be something that would at all affect his process or the way that he's evaluated. Now, if you're making reckless decisions in terms of, all right, your timing, your rhythm, and where the ball is going, those are different conversations, but this is a very, very difficult position that these guys play. These windows close fast, and so we want to be as consistent to plan within the framework of what we're asking as possible, while also understanding that the beauty is when things go a little bit off schedule. And but consistency in the decision making is what we're looking to see.
With Coach
Last one, guys.
With Coach Yarber, specifically, what is it about him that makes him relate to a Cooper Kupp and a DeMarcus Robinson and elevate them?
Just his spirit, the love that he has for people, the investment, and the consistency. I think that consistent spirit he has earns their trust. Because you know what to expect from him every single day, and he doesn't ride the emotional roller coaster that I know I certainly have done before, and that's such a good thing. And they know what to expect, and it's an unconditional love and support, and I think that's why it's easy to see everybody loves this guy. Okay?
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks, Coach.
You got it.